Yo, 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 it's another episode of That's Dope with Godswill and Sam. I'm pretty happy for this episode. First of all, Happy New Year. It's 2023. And I just intend to go stronger with this podcast. Like I'm trying to be more consistent, trying to bring out better episodes.
More video.
More video. Yeah, more like honestly, we have a lot more video content planned. Dave is going to be making some good content. We talked, and I'm really excited for that. And then, what else would I say? Like honestly, just like a lot of good things are planned. More parties, more podcasts, more events just happening. Our camera's going to get crispier. Look at Sam's camera. I love it.
HD. I can zoom in. Look.
Whew. Hey, there we go. I love it. I love it. So, anyways, thanks Sam for being here. How have you been? How's your New Year going so far?
It's been going good. Yeah, this year it's really all coming together. You know what I mean?
That's
and
what's
22 was good. 22 was solid, but I think like finally starting on a strong note. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, I think 22 was really good, and something I've been saying, like I told you a little bit earlier, it's like I think the year was like an A, like A plus A, like in terms of opportunities for me. Like just a lot of great things happened, but I think I matched it with like B minus energy. It's like I think I could have been better about like how I did things. I mean, just even like with the podcast, like I think it was really good. We had amazing guests. You, the homies, like were great. I think like I personally could have been. There's more things that could have happened, So I mean, just being consistent with the editing or making clips. So this year I feel reinvigorated. I want to do better. And yeah, I'm glad to hear that your year was good last year, but then this year is gonna be better too.
Yeah, it's really interesting just rating your year on like a an ABC scale.
Right.
I don't know. It was almost like in a sports team, like a rebuilding year for me.
Good.
It's like, you get good rookies, you get like a system in place, and then next year will be the year,
I love that.
But
I
we've
agree
been saying that for a minute, so.
I mean, we all got stopped by like the dumbest reason. I mean, 2020 was supposed to be the year. I was like, yeah, we're going to just go. Yeah. I had energy.
100%. Yeah.
Now it's like, and I feel like we're sobered. Sober, that was a good punch. We recovered. And now we're back up on it, right?
And one thing that would be cool to do is like end of the year lists. Maybe not for last year, but I noticed like we had an episode where you did like the top animes of 2021 or something.
Oh yeah,
and it got like a ton of traction. But it was like at the beginning of 2021, like you were predicting it, but people thought it was like
like my rate. That's a good point. I like that. We should maybe squeeze that in. I'm down.
Yeah, or top clips or something. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I definitely gotta look through. In fact, actually, I'd love to hear comments. What were people's favorite videos throughout the year? It's like I would love to hear that. And I mean, a lot of cool things happen. Even got a cat. I'm not sure if I've talked about Nami. In fact, perfect segue.
Yes.
So, I mean, this whole month of December, like I was pretty much out in Japan. I definitely want to talk about that. And I wanted to hear, what do you think? Like, you luckily helped me out so much. You took in my cat, Nami, for the whole month. And I mean, I was nervous and just like, oh God, what's going to happen? Is this cat going to be throwing up and shitting everywhere? Oh no, just out of stress. But how was it? How was it taking care of Nami?
It was great. She was really chill. I think like she understood the handoff where you brought her over and you're like, you know what, you're going to stay here for a little while.
Good.
And she wasn't, anxious or anything after that first day that we had her. Super chill.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, she got into a little bit of a routine, and yeah, it was good having her. It's so weird having an alive thing in your house that's not like a person.
Right. I agree. Like I am shocked like how interesting it is to take care of like a non-human living entity.
And this is something that people have been doing for, thousands of years, maybe even more.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I guess farming,
it's like
right?
an ancient thing. Yeah, like even cats. Like I read something about in the plague times, the rats would cause the plague indirectly. So if you had cats, then they would kill the rats, and you'd more likely to survive.
Wow.
So I think like we have some genes from people that love cats because they were the ones that survived the plagues and stuff. Like
Dang.
I don't know,
Okay. Like at first it started utilitarian, and then it's just like,
just
oh,
carried on.
yeah. I mean, I keep saying this is a great time to be alive. I could never really imagine like trying to be alive back in the plague days, right? Like, what do? You just see people just help me, just
And it was like 40% of people. Like it was huge percentages.
golly.
But yeah, I don't know. People we're kind of wired to have pets. Like it's pretty much in our DNA to be like,
I keep
this.
thinking that too. In fact, like yeah, like my parents were African, and they were very against pets for most of my life. But now, my mom like loves my cat, and I love that. Like I never really thought my African parents would care about animals at all. And here they are. Like this cat won them over too, and
I
I'm glad to
remember
hear that
whenever
she
we
won
brought
you
her
over.
over. Yeah, she definitely did. I remember we brought her over to your mom's house, and she's like, Nami.
It feels like, oh, hey, this is how, I guess she'll be like granddaughters or grandchildren eventually. But, it definitely feels like now my cat's my daughter. Oh, I'm that guy now. I'm a cat dad. Ah. Oh, man.
I think that's such a common thing in humanity, though. So I don't think you're in bad company with that.
Okay. Well, it's okay. It's okay to have
Wait,
a heart.
I don't know, she was like always there. Like I would like go out of the shower and she'd be like sitting right in front of the door.
Yeah.
Meow, meow, just yelling. And I'm like, all right, I see you're watching for me. It's like some kind of like old agreement that we had with these animals where like they'll watch the door while we change or something. And like when she goes to the bathroom, she wants to make sure like, we're around or something.
Yeah.
So
which is really nice. It's like it is weird, but like I've been appreciating this animal behavior, It's like it's sort of nice to me to see, like, if it makes sense. Like it is weird behavior and it was different than like what humans would do, but then I feel like it's consistent and I feel like it's good vibes, It's like, okay, yeah, she like licks herself clean, but it's like that's like what cats need to do. Cats need to scratch. Cats need, they need to do this. And I'm lucky that like this cat's really nice. Like I think she is like looking out for us, people that I'm glad she's good with people too. She just hates other cats, and that's something you got to work on. But it is nice that like this cat is like so endearing, and I used to like not like cats, just like my own prejudices, I guess.
Yeah, same. Like growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one has turned it around for me.
For sure. And I remember the first few weeks that you were gone, it was really cold. Like it got down to like freezing, lowest temperatures of the year.
Ugh.
And she would sleep, on my bed normally.
Uh-huh.
But here during these times, she was sleeping like I was like lay down and she'd sleep in the very bottom of my legs, like my feet.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, at first I was like, oh yeah, it's where she wants to sleep to stay warm.
Uh-huh.
But then after a while, I realized that she was keeping my feet warm. So I was like, okay, this is this is a good agreement we have.
Yeah. I love it. Like I dig it. At first I was like, oh, they don't care about us. And then it's like, okay, I guess they do. This is pretty nice. And it's only been 4 or 5 months now. So hey, yeah, I know. It feels like this cat's been here for like a good while, but yeah, only 4 or 5 months. Anyways. Yeah, I appreciate this cat. Yeah. Anyways, meat and potatoes. I want to talk about my Japan trip. Quite a few people have been asking, so maybe I'll send this to them as the de facto. If you want to hear about what Godswill's Japan trip was like, boom, come here. The
official recap. You got to have like
official recap
videos.
As much as I can say without incriminating myself. What I mean, but one day if I see you in person, I'll tell you the incriminating. So. Oh, I got a Yakuza tattoo. No, I'm kidding. Although that'd be cool. I would like to get a Yakuza tattoo. That'd be crazy.
I feel like it comes with like certain, meaning.
True. That'd be cool.
Like if you're walking around shirtless, like in the bathhouse or something, and you have a tattoo, then you're like opting into certain conversations.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Although I literally did see one at an onsen that I went to. Like literally took like a shower, we're all naked, like, like full naked, like in these onsens. I guess I don't think people would know that, but in those outdoors, it was beautiful. Like it it looked like a whole movie, bro. Like the mountains were in the back. I wish I could take a picture of this, but like you can't take pictures
No
inside
photo.
an
Yeah, you're
onsen.
naked.
And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna take a picture inside of a spa, right? Although I sort of wanted to because it was so beautiful, bro. There was like a Japanese maple tree that had like the hues green to red over like a cold pool, and like the leaves would just
Yeah.
drop, and just like, oh, this is beautiful.
I think it's one of those things that's better that you didn't take a picture,
Yeah,
because
I
it's like
guess.
you lived it and it's
Yeah.
more valuable in your head.
But I'm gonna forget one of these days. I keep smoking, and my memory is fading.
But there's things that you don't forget.
I hope that I don't forget that. I do
Yeah.
plan. I plan to not forget this trip. But there are so many things that happen on this trip, and it's just like, yo, this is such a good time. I'm glad I took pictures as much as possible. Like I do wish I took pictures with people more often. I just usually took pictures of things or candids of people, not really like, hey, let's pose for this picture. So that's
I
something I
feel
need
like
to
to
work
do
on.
that, you have to like stop everything and
Yeah,
like interrupt the flow, and then
yeah.
yeah,
That's the truth. I try not to interrupt the flow. I try to go with the flow, and I think that's something that's really important for Japan. Just sort of go with their flow. It's
yeah.
like it is really different. Like like it's a lot more quiet. I would say. Like I remember some
Like
people like
overall,
yeah. Oh no no. Oh, yeah. Oh, like I would say in most places, but like the places you can get loud, that's where they get loud. But otherwise, they're otherwise very quiet. Very polite. I mean, like that onsen, very quiet. I wanted to talk to the guy. There's a guy literally to me, whole back tattoo Yakuza stuff, like butt cheeks to neck, and it looked super dope. And he was showering right by me, and I was like, I want to talk to him, but also I felt so awkward just like, okay, what do I do in the onsen? I guess it's like I'm a stinky American, I guess, and I'm trying to get clean like y'all, right? So, um, you
have you
know,
seen Tokyo Vice on HBO?
I'm watching it right now. Actually, I'm glad you
Oh,
bring it
okay.
up. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on like
because
episode 4 or 5.
it's one of those things. It's like such a family thing. All the whatever organized crime stuff, and it's
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's not the. I've seen this in so many pieces of fiction where they're like, we could remove all of the mafia in this country, but
yeah,
it'd be
but then
worse
it fucks it
probably.
up. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I do wonder like the truth of that too. Like then again, I mean, it's true. I mean, you don't want like Russian mafia coming in,
This
yeah,
was
moving in.
what was this in Chainsaw Man?
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
this
Yeah, it was
exact
also in
conversation.
Chainsaw Man too. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's exactly where I'm getting the quote from. I was like, well, they said in Chainsaw Man, so it makes sense.
But I mean, it
It
does
makes
though.
sense to me too. I mean, it's like like if you can get like a smoothly, because I mean, there's always going to be some sort of evil, some sort of vice that's like wanting to get money and take over, right? And if you get one that actually sort of works for you, hey, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not super against it as long as like it's not, especially like the violence isn't like as bad. Then again, I don't know. I'm speaking as a foreigner who doesn't know like you know what it's really like out there, But I'm just saying, it's like at least there's not crazy violence, like how there is like with many other mafias, cartels, whatever, around
Yeah.
the world. So that brings me up to a good point. Like I wanted to come back to America and be like, man, America ain't shit. But then I was like, I got back and I was like, honestly, I do love it out here. But Japan, for me, this is my second time going. It to me is like this is like a very idealized way of living. I think like a very idealized way of like actually like living as a human, in my opinion. Like I maybe that's like a super deified way of saying it, but at the same time, like I was just very wowed in very many places by a Japanese culture. I was there for like almost a month, and I thought like they were just amazing. Just like the way they made food, the way they took their care of like everything. It was like the way they worked, um, the way they talked and hung out with people and like just tried to like I really enjoyed it. Like most people were really really nice to me, like very like hospitable. um and like I mean I would just see cool things like people picking up trash, like all ages. Like there'd be some trash like on the floor, they would pick it up and they would hold it onto it because there's no trash cans. Also, I learned that there's no trash cans because there was a terrorist attack, and like yeah, like there was like a cult, like a religious cult that like put like bombs inside the trash cans, and then when that did too much damage. They got rid of trash just like 10 years ago, apparently. Like they
This
took
is
out all the trash
this,
cans. Like so there's no like there's like recycling bins like every now and then, but for the most part, there's no trash cans. It's
that's
wild.
something where it seems like the bad guys won.
I
You
think
know,
so in a way.
they
Yeah,
were
I agree.
like, "I bet you we can remove all the trash cans," and then they
Right, but
did
then
this.
again, the way that they just do it though, they do it so naturally that it's like it feels like it's not even like an impediment. It's an impediment to us, like
Yeah,
who, we absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at my desk right now. I'm like, I need it, just wanting, just
yeah.
But
It's something like that speaks to the resilience of the culture that they can
yeah,
just handle removing all of an essential thing with
yeah, it's sort of
with
like
no notice. Yeah,
exactly like they cut off their finger that was like with gangrene or something like that, and it's like probably could have healed that finger, but same time they just sort of keeping it moving, honestly. And in fact, it's sort of better for it too. I mean, like with COVID, right? Like I would see like videos like on the train and about like their code policies, and then I would see like one guy's job was just to wipe down like the bars like after people left, and like one guy would wipe down the bars, like the handrails of the stairs, like just
right.
like super often. I'm like, this is wild. Like I've never seen people with such gusto, like working some people's job. Like there'd be like hotel, like parkways, like where people are driving, right? Parking lots, right? And like their
Yeah.
job was just to like hold the crowds and just be like, excuse chotomate, excuse aside, chotom, just hang on a second, please, like hold
Mhm.
on, like as polite as possible and be bowing up and down, and they'd just be like, and like just every time like a car needed to get inside or out, I'm just like, wow, I can't imagine that would be my job, but they're doing it.
So let me
And
ask you this:
yeah,
like, anywhere you go on the internet, people
yeah,
kind of idolize Japan.
yes,
Like, if there's a video of like, oh, it's 5 restaurants in my city, and then 5 restaurants in the city in Japan, like that
yeah,
one's gonna blow up.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's pretty universal that people are really interested in the culture and really idolize that as a top tier of a
Honestly,
place you can live.
you,
You
you
you,
know,
you agree with that?
because okay, so two things with that. Because like one, like I personally am a fan, super fan of Japan. Like um, I, like I came in there, like 'cause this is my second time. I loved it the first time. Of course, I'm a huge weeb. Love video games, love anime, all that. So but at the same time, I'm trying to be respectful and not be like, oh my God, we're coming to the motherland, the promised land, like, but, uh, I mean, honestly, being there, like, I was just won over, like, just the food was amazing. There's too many times that I was like so stuffed and like just pleasantly just like this was one of the best meals I've had in my life, Um, even going to like the Michelin star place. I went to a Michelin star place and it was great, but also I was like, well, also I've been to like 7 places by this time that were just amazing, like
It's like the
from
average is so good.
so good. Like even
Yeah.
like the 7-Eleven, like the food that is there is so amazing. Like it'd be $2-3 like for like a bento box, and it was just like I'm good. I don't actually need to eat lunch now. Like
Hmm.
I'm glad I ate this, and then you can also like buy a beer for like $3-4. It's
Oh man.
great. It was great.
Oh,
I like, and
yeah.
then so like that was the first part, like where it's like honestly, like it over exceeded my expectations, just consistently. It's like
Hmm.
wherever I went, whatever I did, I was just like, wow, Japan is just doing it better. I mean, just looking at the architecture, looking at like the Sky Tree and the Mori Towers, the museums, the places to go to for fun, just walking around the cities, like it going on the trains, I was just consistently like wowed by like, wow, this is what we could be doing if we just got our act together a little bit more, just like
And you can walk everywhere you need to go, right?
everywhere.
Pretty
I
much.
walked. I like there were many times like when the trains would finish, and it'd be like, oh, I can call a taxi to go home. But I
Hmm.
was like, I just rather walk actually. Like, and I had beautiful moments just like walking and just sort of like going through Japanese neighborhoods and just taking it all in. It's just like this is really cool. The only thing I wish is like it just wasn't cold. Like I just hate
Mm,
the cold. I
right.
have such a cold intolerance
Aversion. Yeah.
aversion. Yeah, exactly. And it's like I don't mean to, but at the same time, I just hate the cold, man. And
You know what this
I
reminds me of?
yeah, what?
Like the way the city's built and it's all convenient and it's all well done, like intentionally.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Rotterdam in the Netherlands.
Ooh, I need
Like
to go there.
If you go to Amsterdam, it's like an old city.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. It's really really walkable. But if you go to Rotterdam, it's brand new pretty much since it all got destroyed during World War II.
Oh.
Which you can say for most of Japan, I would think.
Yeah.
But
I heard the way that they planned the subways in Japan was like they made a map, and then like they made I guess like some sort of map, I guess, like of like the Japanese neighborhoods, right? The Tokyo neighborhoods, right? And then they used like a mold, like a little fungus to populate like the cracks, yeah. And then
find the quickest way between them.
Exactly, right? Yeah, that's what I heard.
I've heard of ants doing that. Well, like they'll give ants like, put them in a certain area and they'll find the best path.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's cool.
I think there's something to this, but I think the big point is that it was done intentionally.
Yes. Yeah.
If you look at a city like Dallas, like it's all just built out, with the next year in mind.
Yeah,
and it's
like what
it's
are we
so
doing?
Scattered and
and like I can't imagine now. Like I heard in Frisco, they're going to be making a Universal. I think of Universal Studios.
Yeah,
it's like what? No, it's like I'm happy, but at the same time, I'm like, oh no, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, so much like sprawl. It's all based on these, streets / roads.
I don't know how it's gonna be. Like, I wish America just could like be like, hey, all right, we need to start over. But there's so many issues that we have in America that I'm just like, all right, we actually gotta start here first, I guess,
But I think a lot of the issues stem from like the way our cities are built, the way people live.
Honestly, I agree. If people could walk more, I think that would, like just walkable neighborhoods, that would change so much.
Yep.
That would change
need a car,
or at least infrastructure, public transportation, and just like better infrastructure for people to get around.
Remember, I was talking with the boys during this Christmas meetup.
Yeah.
Well, you're still in Japan, but we're talking about like how different it would be if we could walk to our friends' houses, walk to each other's houses. Like I could walk to Chris's house, and he's my best friend.
Yeah.
And then if I could walk to your, it'd be crazy.
Oh, I wish we're not there, and I don't know if we're gonna get there in our I don't know, honestly. It's like I wish America could just
like, clean slate.
I don't know. I wish, without the chaos and violence, just be like, hey everybody, let's just actually do this right, all right? For what we need today.
I think that kind of thing, it could pay off in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Or like 25 years, but like
we're not even we don't have a discipline for that right now, right? It's like I can't imagine. I unfortunately can't imagine us like even like getting started with like, okay, here's the important stuff that we need. Let's get to it, right?
And then taking a loss for the next 20 years.
Man, it's like I do wish we had like a little bit more of a collective attitude, It's like just like a little bit more. Like that is something I appreciate about American culture, that like we do have like our rugged individualism. Yeah, like it does feel cool. Like I felt like I was a cool guy like in Japan, just automatically. One, I guess for being a black guy with dreads, but then two is like they would say you're the America Jin, and it's like cool, like also like not really you're a black guy, it's like you're American. I'm American. Like, that's cool, and like I would tell them I'm from Texas, and it's like or I live in Los Angeles, you're from Texas, and they're like, oh my god, I'm like
those are the two places we know.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, it's like. When I first started saying Texas and Dallas, like I was really shocked that people actually knew about Dallas. I was like, oh, I'm like, hey, of course you know about Dallas, right?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be on the map, I guess, more so on the map. But
and that's one thing that's interesting about.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting about I don't know. I know we talked about Cyberpunk before.
Yeah.
But there's these two major, like, factors or entities in that game. There's the Japanese one. There's the American one.
Mm.
So there's Arasaka and Militech. In that game, did you ever feel like an affinity towards one or the other?
I haven't played the game yet. I bought the game.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought the game.
But you watched the anime, right?
Yes, exactly.
And then...
Yeah, I mean, like, it definitely seemed like at least the Japanese structure, at least in the anime, like... it looked like the Japanese structure was like a lot more stable, but then again, I don't know. It's like because when we start going with the Arasaka or which one?
Arasaka.
Militech?
Yeah.
Arasaka and Militech, right?
Hmm.
I mean, they just went like crazy chaotic, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
like they're the two world powers, like the U.S. and China are now.
wow.
And I mention that because in like the 90s or the 80s or whatever,
Uh huh.
a lot of Americans thought Japanese culture was going to be the culture. Like they thought they were on the rise and they were going to keep rising and we're going to be second to them.
Wow.
So I think there's a lot of that feeling like baked into a lot of our media from that time.
Okay.
And the original cyberpunk stuff was written in that time, like 90s, the board
Oh.
game.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I actually
I
been
think it's
wondering, like,
it's really interesting, like revisiting these things where we thought they were going to be number one for the longest time,
yeah,
and people were afraid of the Japanese influence on
yeah.
us.
I mean,
And
it's interesting now, like how it feels like they're chill. I guess it's like at least a lot more chill, like than a lot of other countries. They're trying to, I guess, like come at America, right? Like,
yeah,
or
and we're on the same side,
yeah,
officially.
it definitely feels like more of an allyship. And I mean, in business, at least I see it a lot, right? It's like
Hmm.
like we're usually like a big partner for them, but it feels also still like things are just opening up, I guess, like with like for example, like being there, being back, being in Japan, like for work, it feels like it's still like really new, like how we're working together. I don't know,
Hmm.
at least like talking to people like in person is like, oh, okay, we're actually like really down to do things versus I guess it's talking online, I guess. I'm not sure like
So
where
there's
I'm trying to go
still
with it, but
a little bit of a cultural divide, even
yeah.
despite all these years of being allies.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like it's still sort of new. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like it's still growing, but at least this is like what I saw in like how I feel like in my particular company, I guess.
Did you get this feeling when you came back of like being relieved that everyone spoke English?
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Where you're like, you
it's
go
like
to the middle of nowhere and then they all speak English somehow. And it's
yeah,
like, these are my people.
it's like a lot more of like okay, we're people, right? It's like we can. It was hard, definitely to. Well, I got lucky most of the time in Japan. Like I had people who most of the time like I had people like who either like spoke great English so I didn't have to stress too much or I had someone who can at least interpret for me and then, like but like I tried to like talk. And it was frustrating like times like where it's like, all right, I straight up can't I straight up just wish I could say something to you, but I don't know the words at all. Hang on,
Yeah.
like I'm going to Google Translate. But
Yeah.
luckily that didn't happen too often. Like I'm not sure. Yeah, I got lucky. Like people either like knew really good English, or like if it was times like where it was like mostly just Japanese people, there'd be at least a few people like who spoke good enough English that like they could just translate for me. And it's just like, but it made me like hungry to like try to learn Japanese for real. It's like I like did like because I was like learning Japanese beforehand, but at the same time
Hmm.
it's like okay, I need to like take it to the next level of like speaking it. Like actually like going places and like konnichiwa, genki wa desu ka? I don't know, right? I don't
Yeah. The
know.
conversations, that's the hardest part because you have to
Yeah,
force yourself, like, without knowing everything
yeah,
to have a conversation with someone. And then
very much so.
it's stressful.
And I
Yeah.
was glad that honestly like they appreciated me trying, but like
Mm.
they didn't expect me to try, which I was like, all right, that's a nice feeling of like not having that sort of weight, I guess, on you.
Hmm. Right.
I wish Americans were nicer like that. Like it bums me out when people like speak English. I'm just for like
Mhm.
like you go to another country and like try to communicate with
Yeah.
people who don't speak English, right?
And
But
also in other countries, I would think that there's like way more dialects where you can go to a middle of nowhere town and you might not be able to speak to them even if they're in the same country, right?
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's like I feel bad like slang. I mean,
Yeah.
I was talking with like a newfound friend in Japan, and she was saying that like one of her friends who's from New York who would line her, she couldn't understand him a lot of times because he just used so much slang, and it's like that's tough, like
Yep.
like like new slang words are coming out all the time. I mean, Riz is that I've just dated this podcast. Like
The new update, yeah, it might be dated
right.
already.
Riz is so old, as they watch this 5 years in
It's
the
3
future.
weeks ago, yeah.
Right. I know. I feel like it's becoming old already. Then again, I see a lot of old people say like, "What is Riz?" I'm just sort of like, use context clues, y'all. Yeah,
But
I
I was
always wonder. I
thinking,
mean,
like, if
what
you
do you
think about
think?
like the distance in
Yeah,
between New York and LA,
yeah.
in any other continent, that's going to be entirely different culture,
I did
entirely
multiple
different
countries.
language. Yeah,
Exactly.
you'll
Like,
pass through like 15 different languages on the way there.
sheesh.
But here
Yeah,
we have all one language. We can
that's
understand
wild.
someone from New York, even if they use slang. I
Yeah,
mean, if you're a native speaker, but
yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
it's pretty unique and
That
pretty.
is.
You can
That's
take it for granted unless you leave for a while.
that's a good point. Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, like going to Japan, like in Tokyo, and like they're like the culture's different, way different in Kyoto and Osaka. I'm just like, how big is Japan? That like the culture can be like so different like that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and
I
there's so many
mean,
mountains there. I feel like that separates the cultures a little bit.
like physically so, right?
Yeah.
That's
Did you go to
cool.
any of the islands down there?
No, I stayed in Tokyo mainly. Like I,
Mm.
well, only went to Hakone for the onsen. We had to go there because we have
Oh yeah.
tattoos. So, and that was a tattoo friendly spot.
There's
Yeah,
tattoo unfriendly spots?
yeah, and like in Tokyo, like
What?
they'll just won't let you in.
What? That is
Yeah,
wild. So this is
yeah,
why you're with the
yeah,
Yakuza guys.
exactly. Although, I mean, it was mostly
Hmm.
normal people there, and like the spot was beautiful. It wasn't like a second rate spot. It was like a resort town, but I mean, that's why the Yakuza guy was there for sure. Because in
But that's
Tokyo,
crazy that they separate them to begin with.
oh
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
oh yeah. I mean, like,
Hmm.
yeah, like even like my boss who like I went with, like he tried to go to a gym in Tokyo, and they wouldn't
Hmm.
let him in because he had some tattoos. Yeah,
I've never heard of this in my life.
yeah, like
Wow.
it's just
Huh.
happened to him. Yeah, I was like, that sucks.
Is there
And
anything else like that besides tattoos? Is there any other thing that people are really
otherwise,
sensitive about?
no. I think there's like, I think like there's like a cultural like, oh my gosh, you're wearing clothes that are sort of different, like on a work
Hmm.
day or whatever. I guess like if you look too different, if you weren't wearing a mask, but like nothing that was like physically like there was I guess the only like other physical thing like was like there was like one time we tried to go to some izakayas and
Hmm.
then they wouldn't let us in and they're like no 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 thank you but one we didn't really speak Japanese like fluent enough Japanese, two they could have been full, so but it happened to us like four times back to back and like one night when we were in
Okay.
Roppongi.
What is the izakaya?
It's
Is
like
like.
a small bar like where like they do course meal foods
Hmm.
and like yeah so yeah, it's like a hot spot to like go to dinner. They serve like good alcohol, highballs, and it could be like whiskey bars, and then like they serve like pretty good small meals, like and then it just sort of keeps adding up like that.
Yeah.
So like we try to go
Very
to like
interesting.
four in Roppongi, yeah, and like Roppongi is like the uptown, like where like the Tokyo Tower is at,
Yeah.
and like they wouldn't let us in. Um, but for me, I was just like, oh, maybe they're just full. Also, they spoke like just straight Japanese, so that can be sometimes a thing. But otherwise, for the most part, like we were like other than like needing reservations for places, like it was really easy to go around.
Messed up.
Yeah.
I wonder if we have
Oh,
anything like that here where you can't, eat somewhere or something. I
yeah.
guess you
Like
have to
only
speak English, but
yeah, yeah, that would sort of suck.
nothing
Um,
similar to that.
like there's
Huh.
like of course like places you got to reserve your food to. I guess like Benihana, I guess, right? But
Yeah. Sometimes a
um,
dress code, I guess.
yeah, yeah, dress code. But
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah,
Huh.
I guess we do have our cultural things. I guess that we could physically bar someone to, huh?
Did you see any like gambling over there? Like pachinko or whatever?
I
I don't know,
did
maybe
see
it's you
pachinko. Yeah,
can't
I
talk
did go to
about it.
pachinko. I didn't go to pachinko this time. Like the first time I went, I did pachinko, and
Hmm.
I wasted $50. Yeah, I was gonna do $20, and then
Entertainment.
yeah, for sure. Although this is back when I was like, I have no money days for sure. So now I
Yeah.
was like, okay, yeah, like I can do it, right? But this time around, I didn't go to pachinko. Like I stayed away from that, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I was wanting to, but then also every time I was with somebody, it's like, no, that's a hellhole of just smoking and misery. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not gonna go this time.
That's a good one. Smoking and non-smoking. I feel like we'd have that here.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people
Yeah.
smoke over there?
Yeah, a
Cigarettes?
lot. People smoke a lot in Japan. Man, I can't wait till I get weed, honestly. It's like it's like I mean there's like even like dispensary like what is it?
CBD or whatever.
No, there's there's no dispensaries, but like there's like vending machines for cigarettes, like just straight for cigarettes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, cigarettes were pretty much everywhere, but apparently they're like lighter than American cigarettes.
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
like how the beer in Oklahoma used to be, weaker than the beer here.
Yeah,
They just like tone it down a little bit.
yeah. So I guess it could be everywhere, but like it was weaker. But cigarettes. So, but now like also there's many places like where like it was like smoking rooms, like people can smoke inside still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like hotels, like hotel rooms. I forgot. Like, oh yeah, you can have like a smoking room, I guess, right? Or some restaurants, like quite a few restaurants and bars, you can still smoke inside. But what else? Yeah, smoking culture is huge.
Was there like
Drinking.
a coffee culture?
Yeah,
Oh
actually quite
yeah,
a bit.
drinking too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, alcohol. I mean, like one thing I would see is like people passed out like on people passed out in stations, yeah, subway stations, and we tried to help, like me and my friend Sai, by the way, yeah, like he was on the podcast, and like me and him were roommates for like half the trip, and he was the best dude to go with, like the coolest dude. He did like a sword kenjutsu test, like to get like a belt, and it's tight as hell. Honestly, like I have to show it off, but
Yeah, we
and
gotta
like
have the clip here of him
I know,
doing it.
honestly, like I'm thinking like I need to clip it there for sure. Like I'll ask him if I can show that video, but like he was really cool. Um, what else happened? Like he was just
You
like the
talking
best
about
person to hang out with.
you talking about the
Sai.
drinking culture and how you found the guy on the,
Yes, yeah.
the
So
subway?
like yeah, me and Sai like it was like right before like the last day, right before the last day like, we're leaving, and like there's a dude like who's like slumped, like
Oof.
right by some throw up on the station, slumped. His last train of the night. So like if he misses this, he's gonna be like not on a train until 5 in the morning, right? And it's like midnight. So we wake him up, and then he just sort of was like, "Hey, hey, hey, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good." So he just sort of comes on the train with us, but he didn't really speak a lot of English. So it was hard to be like, "Where do you need to go? How do you, And it's just like we just had to leave him. So it's just like, good luck to him. He'll know how to get home one way or another. At least he's awake and alive. And we did see quite often, people just passed out next to some throw up. Not sure if it was the holidays or if it was like that was just like
Mm.
a standard thing.
And they were like in suits or like
Yeah, in
business clothes,
suits.
like they
Yeah,
straight up from work. They
yeah.
just go.
I'm just like, damn, I don't want to ever get that sloshed unless like it's like a party, and like I'm not going to work the next day. God,
Yeah, it's brutal.
I can't imagine. Ugh. But especially I'm definitely feeling my age now these days. Like I feel
Mm.
good. I feel good. I feel good, but at the same time, literally like on my birthday, like it just became December 31st, and
Hmm.
then like I was dancing. We are at a dance club, and then I'm trying to do the Matrix, but like this is like I'm starting to dance like with this, So like I didn't warm up. I just you know pounded back what's it called? A rum and coke. Oh no, Red Bull and vodka first. Red Bull and vodka, and then I was like, all right, let's just get in there and show how America does it, right? And then my knee pops, plop, plop. Oh, like, I'm getting old. It's just like it just felt symbolic, but I was still dancing
Yeah,
until 5 in the morning. Next day, I paid for it. My knee was just on the fritz.
I bet. And for
Yeah.
context, this is like his signature move.
Yes.
Like I've been seeing this move done at every dance party since like eighth grade.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. Actually, wow. That's a good point. I have been doing it for a long, long time. This
Was
is
that
even
how you
before.
pulled your hip that one time
Yes.
we had the LA
Oh
party?
man, I think so. Golly. Yeah, I've hurt myself many times with this particular dance, but I think I pulled something in my back also. Like one time, like I couldn't breathe, like that night, like trying to go to sleep.
Oh man, that's
Ugh.
freaky.
Yeah, but I still do the dance move. I did. Now I'm just like, let me just warm up before I go do things like that.
There you go. Do a little stretching.
Exactly. Warm up. Don't like when you get older, y'all stretch. That's important. But man,
There was a lot of
what?
people like at bars and clubs whenever you went out. Pretty
Uh,
packed, or is it like
yeah.
kind of
I would
how it
say
is here?
bars were very packed. Like there was quite a few times like where bars were like we only have seating room or we only have standing room, but you can come in. Um, What else? I wish I went to more dance clubs. That's something I like. I'm
Mm.
like, if I had more energy or time, I would have done that more. But I am happy. I only went the once on my birthday, and it was great. And it was pretty packed even till 5 in the morning. But
Hmm.
I feel like it could have been more packed. I'm not sure why it wasn't. Then again, I don't know. It did feel if it was a dope club. It was a house dance club. If you got house dance clubs, that's my jam.
Nice.
And they killed it, man.
You didn't do any driving?
Nah, I wanted to. I was hoping to do
Oh,
like that go kart experience.
oh yeah.
Um, but I left like I left my ID or dropped my ID. So like and I like for the international driving license, you need to have your
Mm.
license with you. So I probably could have
Would
tried
it
it still, but I was like, I'm okay.
would it be hard to adjust, do you think, to the opposite side of the car and the street and everything?
I'm that's something like I think after like a month of doing it, just be like,
Like your
okay,
brain just figures it out. Yeah.
exactly. Like there's many times, even like walking, people walk on the left side, you know,
Hmm.
and then there's many times, like when I'm actually like, especially at the train station, like, and just everyone's crisscrossing, and then I would try to like dodge to right, and then I would accidentally
Oh,
like get in the way, and I'm just like,
because
I
you're
keep
dodging it right.
forgetting exactly. Um,
I remember in London they would have these signs on the pavement, like written in paint, and it was like, "Look to your left, not to your right," or something like that, or the opposite, because you're used to
mm,
seeing cars coming from the opposite way.
ah,
But
okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
pretty cool.
it would be hard to adjust, especially if you're driving like
Fast.
stick shift or something. And most
Oh,
cars are stick shift, right?
are they most cars?
In Japan, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess so. I did drive with one friend, but he drove. I think it was automatic. I don't remember seeing him do the things. I want to learn
It
stick
says
shift
like
still.
80%. I can teach you. I mean, if you have a car, it's
I
stick shift.
mean, I don't have. That's the thing. Is like
I don't either right now,
yeah, damn, yeah.
but
Okay, one of these days I got to figure it out because that's something like I've always wanted to do. I also still want to learn how to do get a bike, but at the same
Hmm.
time, everyone's like gonna die.
I would
So
love riding in Japan. That would be
yeah,
a dream.
man.
Like on the mountains, just like from Tokyo to Kyoto. That would
Oh
be fucking
wow,
sick.
that sounds really baller, actually, bro. We got to go on a trip soon.
We
We
have to.
gotta
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm pushing most people to go to Japan. Like I'm
Hmm.
super down. Yeah, I
Go
might
back and
even
get rent bikes.
but hopefully by the
Yeah.
time that we're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
You
Oh
got
yeah.
your
You just do
passport?
like. Yeah, I have it.
I'm
I've had it
good.
for a
Perfect.
few months.
Good. What are
And
you
if
about
you
to say?
have a motorcycle license here, I'm pretty sure that would transfer.
I think so.
It only
Like
takes like a weekend. Like you just have to go in this course, and then you one classroom, and the rest of the time you're just on these old Hondas. And
okay, not bad
it's
at all.
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, maybe this year. I think this year, like I wanna that'd be like one of my New Year's goals.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me
I
and
think
Josh are
so.
going to a few different tracks in March and April.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the one. There's one Coda Circuit of the Americas. Is where the F1 races take place in Austin.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's
Dang
like
you.
you're racing in the big leagues with the F1s.
You really
But
deserve that shirt. I'm glad. I'm glad. Look at that. Show the back
oh yeah,
off on
into
that
the
shirt.
back.
Yeah.
Good.
There we
So
go. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
this was uh, well, what you got me from Japan.
Yeah, man. I was like, I got to give you something sort of nice, like for taking care of Nami and for being a homie. And
Yeah,
I'm glad
appreciate
like you're rocking that shirt. So we're talking
it. Yeah, I
about
like it.
smoking and F1 and all that. I mean, that's baller. Like I'm glad it looks like actually really good.
Yeah, yeah. The story behind this guy is pretty sad, but I don't know. I'm
Uh,
not sure how popular, just outside of Brazil, this guy is.
maybe the
Sam,
world would know. I
I
feel like
think
the
they would.
world is like hip to things like this, and just not
Yeah,
America.
yeah. We're just kind of in a bubble culturally when it comes to stuff like this in
That's a
soccer.
bummer. Yeah, we're starting. We're starting. Like I watched soccer. I watched the world's final. Uh, like
Oh
as it was
yeah, that was
happening.
wild.
That was
When was
crazy
that?
for real.
That was December, right? You were still in Japan.
Yeah, it was like 2 in the morning, like when it or 3 in the morning when it finished.
Did people get
Um,
hyped like while
oh
you're watching
yeah,
it?
or yeah. In fact, like I would see like on the news, and like I would even see figures of like the Japanese soccer team,
Hmm.
like little like miniature figurines.
Oh yeah, because they went far. I
Yeah,
forgot that
I think
Japan
they
was
went
like
quarterfinals or something like that,
yeah,
something like that. But
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
that
went
would have been
far.
hype.
And it was cool to see. Like I do I think it's really cool to be like in another country during like a World Cup because they care, versus America, like where it's like, oh, that's cool, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like only the playoffs matter type of thing. But
Yeah, which is
yeah,
cool, but I don't know. Like I mean, it's cool to just sort of be a part of the world, when the world is doing things, I guess, right?
yeah, I
So
agree.
that's
Like a
cool.
world citizen type thing.
Yeah, it's like I think that's something that's sort of a bummer that like America does now, like where we're just like, no, the world is bad. Like, is we? I feel like we should be exactly like, no, the world is cool. It's like one thing of like we're like an homogenous country and we don't really need to like really worry about other countries. We're self sufficient, but we're not. You
Yeah, and
know?
we never will be if
Yeah,
things
it's
go
like
okay.
I don't understand like um how people here like just don't care, but whatever.
I think travel should be like mandatory.
I
Like
think
you should
so.
have to take 1 year between high
International
school and
travel.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Australia does this where like you get like a stipend or something for your gap year,
Ooh,
and it's expected. So
that
you have all
that makes
these.
perfect
Yeah,
sense to me. I wish. I absolutely wish because the world needs to see like how the world is doing. It's like we don't even know about the world, and I think that's such a damn shame. Like
yeah,
we don't know other languages. We don't know like just even going to like our country, like the countries that are touching America, Mexico
oh
and
yeah,
Canada at least, see how they're doing. um
and like people coming to America too, because I think there's such a weird perception of us from other places. I have
yeah,
had people like I don't know want to study abroad here,
yeah,
and their family will tell them like it's too dangerous. You
yeah,
don't want to go to America. You'll get
yeah.
shot. And I'm like,
There's many
this is
people
not how it works.
exactly
Yeah.
right. There's many people like who are like, oh, you live right by Compton. I'm like, is that dangerous? And I'm like, maybe not for me.
Ugh.
I don't know. It's like I don't think so, but at the same time, I feel like it's like as long as you're not like in the wrong spaces, for the most part, you're gonna be okay, right?
And I think maybe we have that perception of other countries too.
Yeah,
Like you're talking
that's
about
very true.
Mexico or somewhere in the Middle East, and
That's
it's,
very
it's
true.
probably much different than what we think.
Which I hope so too. I mean, it's like unfortunately, it's like right now we're talking about the cartel, in
Hmm.
Mexico, uh, Middle East. It's just always same old, same old. So, but then again, what's the reality like? We don't know. Like, we're not even paying attention or trying to understand, right?
And I know there's people that are trying to understand, but I think
I feel,
there's
yeah,
so much tension now. It's hard to
no,
weed
like,
out what the propaganda is and what isn't.
hmm like it's a damn shame. Like, I definitely understand like people being worried, but yeah, like there's just so much propaganda. Like you said it best. Like how it's like, yeah, these systems, these social media systems, like are really designed to propagate, I guess, like the strife, right?
Yeah.
So it's
And I don't know.
yeah,
Even before social media, I think a
yeah,
lot of media and a lot of entertainment and news is designed to, find where things are going wrong and
mm,
amplify that.
mm-hmm.
I remember
It,
there was a Bruce Lee movie, like I forgot what the name, Iron Fist or whatever. But I mean, like he's in a Chinese school in Shanghai or whatever, and there's Japanese people that are like occupying his city, and that's like the whole plot.
huh,
It's like he's fighting against these Japanese people,
huh, yeah,
and I remember I played it was like a from the developer that made Hotline Miami, which is one of my
oh,
favorite games.
uh-huh,
Oh, Revolver Digital, yeah,
okay,
they made like a samurai game, and I was playing it, and I found out the bad guys were bandits from the same country, and it just ruined the story for me. I was like, this is not nearly as entertaining as if it was like uh,
like a
what was that
different.
movie, Curse of Tsushima or whatever,
Oh, it
like
goes to
that.
Tsushima.
Goes, yeah, I think that
Uh-huh,
would be like a stronger plot
yeah,
because there's
like
more
an
conflict
invader.
that, yeah, like we're
Like
hardwired to want to see that kind of thing.
I see, yeah, sort of like a united front against like an invading, almost like evil, I guess, right?
Yeah, an external thing that it's not
Yeah,
us.
yes. Versus like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of
It's like
sense.
bandits or something. Yeah, and it's like, oh, who
Yeah,
cares about bandits?
right. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Like I was even thinking like I watched Top Gun on the flight, right?
Oh
And
yeah, on the flight. Wow.
yeah. Honestly, like it was pretty baller. Like I mean, I felt the thrill. It was a good movie. Like on airplanes is like where I catch up like on a lot of movies. Like I don't watch movies, just sitting down usually. Like it's like on a plane where it's like,
hmm
okay, look, what do I have now? I just go through the list. So I watched Dune and I watched Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Dune was
What did you
tight.
think about Top Gun? Have you seen the old Top Gun?
Yeah, I did, and actually I didn't even finish it. Like I also watched it on a plane and I didn't finish it, but I didn't like super care about the story as much.
The new one, it was such good pacing. It was such good movie quality.
Yeah,
Like everything had like little peaks and then like
yeah.
other peaks and the real one. And I don't know, it was fire. I think,
Man, yeah, the
uh,
train, like they made me care about training,
yeah,
and like
like the
they broke
training
it
arc
down
was just as exciting as the real thing.
very much so. Like I thought like I would not care um about the training. I'm like whatever, but they made it hype, and it made me care about the characters. And then like when that real final mission happened, that was hype, hype, hype,
Yeah,
hype. Like I was like, yeah, I wish I saw this like in theaters, but otherwise so like why I brought that up, is like
yeah,
even like I think they did it well, like where they didn't say like what country it was, it's not the Russians
yep,
or the Chinese, it's just sort
yep.
of like we just gotta
The
go
ambiguous, yeah, the
exactly
opponent.
exactly
Yeah,
those guys over there who have the missiles, we gotta shoot their shit down because they're making bombs. Yes, sir.
yep,
Which is a good point. Like I mean, I'm glad that like they didn't have to say like a country for us to get
yep.
like with it. It's like we gotta fight the Chinese now. It's just
I think there was some controversy on like the patches.
oh
Like
yeah,
someone had like a patch with the flag of Taiwan, and China was
that's
up in
cool.
arms about it, and
I
like a
see.
lot of
Yeah.
Hollywood was mad, and they
Uh-huh.
had like Japan as well, and they want to take them both off.
Wow.
But Tom Cruise is like, nope, we're gonna leave it on
Wow.
because those are
Okay.
our allies, even though
Yeah.
the enemy is fictional. Our allies are real, so
Yeah.
I thought that
That's
was interesting,
that's really cool. That's
and it
that's
reminded me
cool.
of Ace Combat
Yeah.
because I think they have like a different world map, but it's still similar entities like that exist today. Like there's
Mm.
still like Eurasia is
Yeah.
one of the, and then it was like uh, there was a American type of coalition, and those are interesting to look at,
That's cool.
like the fictional enemies and the fictional good guys.
You're right. Like you can say us. I mean, I guess people can read between the lines of like, all right, this must be, whoever we're fighting now, I guess. But it's not necessary to say it, I guess.
And it
It's
makes it
sort of
more evergreen
exactly. I was
too.
like,
Yeah.
it dates it like in an unnecessary way, I guess, right?
hmm
Yeah, at least it made sense like when I guess it first happened, like where you just need to get the culture on board with what you're doing. But now it's like, okay, we know better. We don't need to be so jingoistic, I guess, all the time, right?
mm
Oh
And do
well.
you think that like that kind of culture propaganda is effective? If we were to have put the enemy's flag on there, if that would move the needle to our direction at all?
I think these days no, because I feel like we're just sort of already. Well, actually, maybe you just sort of get the layperson just be like, oh, that's who we don't like these days. It's like,
Yeah.
because like there's definitely
The
other camps that,
layperson.
yeah, um,
Because I know
it's
that
like,
other
yeah,
countries are making movies with about us as the enemy in different areas. I know there's a bunch of Chinese movies where the bad guy's an American and all that. But
we're the bad guys.
yeah, we're the
No,
baddies. Oh no.
so yeah, right. Honestly, it's like, I mean, then again, I like, yeah, I guess like if I see it today, it's like, okay, I'm aware of like, all right, you guys are doing this to just get me on your side or whatever. I guess I feel like these days, especially like with social media, we we would be aware, but I think
That's
like,
one thing about what was it in Chainsaw Man?
uh huh,
The manga, every single weapon from the Gun Devil is an American made gun. Like they have
oh,
M16s, M4s, the pistols are all 1911s. They're all
oh,
American made. There's no European made, which are like the majority of guns now. There's no
oh,
other. It's all just American ones. And I'm like,
damn, hmm,
this is interesting. This is like,
yeah,
it reminds me a lot of the cyberpunk kind of dichotomy between the US and Japan,
yeah.
where, but
Then
this was
again,
written recently, wasn't it? Chainsaw
yeah,
Man?
oh yeah, it's like I feel like 2018,
So
because
there's
I
still
mean,
some remnants of this, US
yeah.
versus, yeah. It's
Although
interesting.
maybe because I feel like for that, so like Chainsaw Man, it's like they say like devils are like what people like are afraid of, you know. So like there's a gun devil, right? People are afraid of gun violence, like to like such an extreme, especially like worldwide, you know, like everyone is seeing like our the extent of our gun violence to ourselves, right? Um, so it makes sense. I mean, because actually, I did get a few questions about that, like in Japan, you know, like where people
Really?
ask, yeah, they
That's
ask
really
about like
interesting.
how are guns, you know, like why do you guys have guns, you know, like what, you know, like they ask pretty poignant questions about that, and it's just like, oh, they're paying attention to what we do, you know. So
And
it's
it's
sort of
interesting because, like, I
yeah,
think you're not allowed to have them right in Japan. You
no,
can't
not
just
at
own
all.
guns
Like
as a civilian.
there's no way you get like a real gun in Japan, you know.
And I think they're disarmed to the point where they can't have like an aircraft carrier. Like
Damn, I
they're
think
not
so.
allowed to. Like they have
Damn,
helicopter carriers, but they can't have a full-on aircraft carrier.
wow,
And so I think it's interesting that this is the unknown. Since they can't have it, they can't shoot a gun, they can't own it.
yeah,
Like so, it's more scary
it is. I
than it is
mean,
here.
yeah, I mean, right? Yeah, like especially like in Texas, we're just sort of like, I guess I gotta get a gun too, right? You know, but
Yeah,
which
and
is
I think
good and
So
bad. But I don't know. I think it's unfortunate because like it's mainly in America that people are afraid of gun violence to each other like this, right?
I want to talk more about Chainsaw Man though, without
Yeah,
spoiling anything.
go ahead. All right, I
But
mean, I can we just be
okay,
like,
we'll go
yeah,
into
you want to talk about
spoilers
the
a little
show?
bit.
You talk about
Uh,
the show or the manga?
Kind of like the more overall.
Okay, all right.
So okay, so warning spoilers. But
Spoilers.
the Gun Devil, it was like affiliated with the USA, right? Like it was somewhat
I think so.
connected with the government,
Yes.
and Japan had their own devil that they were working with, right?
Uh
You know what I'm
huh.
talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
So
So, mm,
it's the same kind of thing where, like, these countries are using these powers that they don't understand to fight each other.
that's a
And it's
great
crazy
point.
that they still think that they're, in this battle.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I think yeah maybe just governments are like I guess like luckily like you know still fighting each other but like not like so loudly or violently as before I guess
Yeah.
because it can get very violent very quickly right and just these fragile systems will crumble like much more easily I guess these days versus you know hey let's go conquest over there I guess you know
Yeah, I just watched this documentary on the Pegasus spyware. Have you heard of that?
no
So it's like a piece of malware that you can infect someone's phone without them doing anything.
damn
Like they don't have to click a link, they don't have to download a PDF and run it. They just have to have their phone. You have to know their number. You can send them like a text, and it'll take control of their phone, delete the text,
wow
and it will tell you everything that's going on in and out of that phone,
wow
even like deleted photos, deleted messages. And this has been available through a company based in Israel,
wow
not affiliated with the government officially, but they found the software on so many like journalists and civilians and like heads of state, and it's like a super weapon that's been
damn
deployed. And so like the I don't want to talk about the specifics, but like there's people that have been found that were murdered, and this software is on their phone.
oh
So this is associated with the death of journalists or political figures.
holy moly
So this is almost like the modern version of this gun devil or whatever. So I think we are actually in these cyber wars across the world, even with our allies. Like a lot of European countries found our spyware on their systems. So
nice
we're spying on them, they're spying on us. I think this stuff is going on still behind the scenes.
okay
And
just as long as
there's
like
a
we're
lot of
not I mean that's crazy but I mean I was in this is like worrisome for sure but then again I guess it falls in line with like what I imagine right like I
and
imagine
it's less violent.
yeah
There's
I
this is
mean
like
you got to
hackers
keep
against each
tabs
other
like on
and
your everybody you know it's like at least that's you know especially like with all these like James Bond spy movies or whatever it just like it makes sense that like governments no, it's not like governments are just like yeah let's just be friends and they just don't do anything you know
yeah,
just
it's like,
like
oh, they're on our side. They can,
yeah yeah they would
have
never
the
hurt us
password.
they would never
Yeah.
right yeah, at least it's more like all right you know we're not gonna hurt each other right now you know we're gonna be friends we're gonna work with honor hopefully right there's more to gain from that
I think
than
that honor thing is a big part of it
that's what I'm hoping
because, yeah, we're talking about, uh, maybe organized crime in the past.
yeah
I think the benefit of that over unorganized crime is some kind of system that how they're going to act. where you can predict them.
Mm.
So I think the same kind of goes with cybercrime, where if we know a cyber criminal organization is existing and we know how they act, they're much more likely to stay intact than like a
A
unpredictable
rogue,
one.
yeah, like
Yeah.
individual or like invading group, yeah, that just comes in and is a lot more brutal or um not honorable, I guess, right? Like at least
Yeah.
honor in this case is like we know how you'll act. You're gonna be consistent and like you're not gonna try
Cross
to
the line.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, cross the line. I like that.
There was one where, they targeted the oil pipeline in eastern U.S.
I
It
remember
was
hearing
a
about that.
ransomware. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so they got the ransomware. They didn't develop it. This corporation that ran the scam,
Uh-huh.
they actually licensed it from like an online forum.
Oh,
And the
jeez.
forum had this code where you couldn't target schools, you couldn't target critical infrastructure, you couldn't target governments or something like that.
Wow.
Other things were fair game, like companies like banks and stuff, but they broke the rules. So
Mm.
this organization that ran the scam, I guess, or
Yeah.
distributed the ransomware, they ratted them out or whatever. They
Oh,
said they wasn't affiliated with us.
okay.
So it's interesting that these old school like mafia principles still apply.
Yeah, which I dig. Like I can get behind that. Like I think the people should be at least like, all right, like you're not horrible. Like if as long as like you have like some scruples, right? Like you, uh,
And I don't know, I'm still convinced that a lot of these morals get
yeah.
passed to future generations through media. Like people that watch
Mm,
The Godfather or people that
mm,
watch Tokyo Vice type stuff.
uh-huh.
Like they inherit these principles from these movies.
Maybe
I mean,
because
a lot of it is family, of course, but
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
Because
not
I'm thinking
affiliated with
like
it,
since like like in mafias, like I mean definitely I think the media like influences it, can influence it, especially like now like that like the media is so pervasive, right?
mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping that like it could influence, I guess, future criminal generations to be,
positively, right?
yeah, positively like, okay, we're gonna do crime, but at least we're gonna be intelligent, actually like be for the people and more so. Then again, also it makes you think. Excuse me. It makes you think with like anime, right? Unfortunately, like a lot of people who watch anime, they can be toxic and rude and like bullies online. Um,
The
and it's
anime
like, why
profile
aren't you guys
picture,
learning? What's that?
the anime profile picture syndrome.
Yeah, it's sort of like, why you guys should learn. It's like of all things in most anime, it's like they're like, hey, don't be a bully, be a cool guy who beats up bullies. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of weird to see people bully other people like online. Like when they're anonymous. Um,
You think there's
you
some
know,
psychology behind that, where they're like, identify more with the bully in this show than the protagonist?
oh, that's a good point. I mean, it does make me wonder. I'm like, are you guys like learning at all, or like, are you guys taking the message at all from these shows? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Whatever.
Interesting.
I do
Yeah.
hope that like people like are getting scruples these days. Like that's something that worries me. But man, again, people I guess have always not have had scruples, and maybe it is getting better.
I think
I
the
don't.
default is to not have it. If you have no influence whatsoever and you're just like, raised by wolves type, like you don't have any of these ideas built in
Yeah.
as a human. You have to learn them
Mm,
from the people around you or from whatever you consume as far as reading or watching.
damn. Well,
On that note, have you
yeah.
been reading anything?
Yeah. Um. Right now, I'm finishing up the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. I have an abridged version that like I found like in my I guess my closet in my mom's house, and I've been enjoying it. Like I'm on like page 400. Like I've been like I try to read like every night. Like as I brush my teeth, I just read.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to like have that consistent like every night. Like I'm going to do this every day because it's easy to not read.
Did you
And
pick
I
up any books from like Japan? Like I feel like used bookstores would be dope
Yeah, but they're all like in heavy
in
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so but I
it's
do
not even
have like
light
a few.
Japanese, heavy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I do have like some children's books that like I got.
Mm.
That I'm hoping that like I can try to learn. Like I got like a Shinchan book and I got like a Yotsuba manga. but still, it's hard. And then right now, like I'm trying to read like a Japanese article, but going slow with it. It's like, what does this word mean? What does this word mean?
I remember one of the first things I asked OpenAI is like, compare the rates of how fast you can read something versus listen to human speech versus like type and talk and all that. The fastest one was reading. It was like 2 times faster than listening to something.
Wow.
Even if you're listening to 1.5 times speed and you're a very, very good listener, reading is still a faster data throughput than listening or watching a video.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
you think you read like that? Like read that fast? Wow.
I think like even if you're reading slow and like sub-vocalizing everything, you're still going at a higher data throughput than if you're watching a video of someone just reading off the same stuff.
Wow.
I think a lot of people now think that video is like the best way to learn anything. Like watch YouTube and someone will read a book and then summarize it for you. But I think, actually reading the book has a lot of value still.
Wow. That's news to me. I mean, that makes me feel a little better. I guess it's just like literally taking the time to just, all right, I'm going to read this book, right? Versus like, and I feel like people think they don't have that time, maybe. Or just like need to like.
But I mean, it's still the fastest. Yeah. If you're comparing that to, listening to an audiobook of the same thing, reading is going to be much faster. I think no matter who you are.
That's a great point. Wow.
Yeah, I would. Point. I would definitely love to like travel and read. I feel like that'd be a sick combo. Because you associate the book with. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I read manga like on the trains all the time. That's what people would do, and that was cool. Like, that's one reason I wish we had trains. I would love to sit down and just be able to like do something for like a bit. Like it's not like focus on trying to survive. Like I was like, okay, I'm about to drive and try to survive.
I think driving is like so intense compared to how we feel it is.
Yeah.
Like it's the highest risk thing you do every day.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. Yeah.
I was thinking about it last night because it was raining in Los Angeles, right? And I'm just like, we are driving like 60, 70 miles per hour. And I'm hoping that people don't screw up, and I'm hoping I don't screw up. I'm feeling like I just want to be home right now. I'm not paying attention, 100% attention that I probably should,
I think people are going to look back 100 years from now and think that we were nuts for doing the things that we do on the road. Yeah.
Honestly, I hope so. It's like, I can't wait till like it's just like more automated, like don't get me wrong, maybe take manual control when necessary, but I don't know if like that's always like the necessary thing to do.
I think we're going to go more of the Japan route of having like closer knit cities where you have public transport and you can walk to a lot of places.
I hope so.
Ideally.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to get there, but that's where I hope we end up.
I hope so, man. Like that would definitely change like culture for the better, I think, because shoot, man, like it's easy to not walk in America. You go from.
It's hard too. It's hard to walk anywhere, even if you're close. If you could walk to like a DART station, and then you're
got to cross multiple intersections and far distances just to get to the DART station, right?
It's like you're trespassing in areas that weren't meant for walking.
Right. There's no sidewalks.
You're trespassing in the car's domain.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like just even the way that people drove in Japan, like it was just like a lot more calm. Like
really,
I didn't really feel like I was like, and then people would like just wait like at stop signs. Like they would wait until like it was, like whereas in New York it's just like go whenever you're ready, right?
I mean, like a lot of places that I visited in Asia, at least, like the lanes are optional. Like it's pretty much a free flowing type of thing. And like walking, like crossing the street, you just have to dodge everything.
That's crazy.
Like little kids were out there just like, just looking at it and then sprinting and like they were falling.
Wow.
But
that's dangerous. But hey,
that is crazy. Yeah. If they make it, hey,
anyone
got to get across.
Right? Jeez. Yeah. Oh, we're going to make it. Thank you so much. This was a good talk. I had a good time. Yeah. Hope you guys had a good time listening to us talk about stuff. I liked going all over this. Japan was tight. We got some good goals for this year too. Yeah. I'm glad that Nami was good for you. She's being chill. I might have to let her go outside. She's nice. I do appreciate her. I do like, every time I'm about to start complaining, I'm like, damn, I gotta take care of a living being, but I'm like, all right, at least this one's like really chill and cool. So,
I mean, I'll have to come visit sometime.
Yes, sir. Although,
see you, Nami.
Yeah, man. Whenever you're ready for LA, let me know. Like, we got more adventures this year, and we gotta make more things happen.
Yep.
Dope. Anyways, thank you. Hope everyone listening, you had a great time. Yeah, let us know what you like from this episode. Have you been to Japan? I'd love to hear what your journey was like. Or if you plan to go to Japan, I'll hit you up for I guess places you gotta go check out. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Like always, this year's gonna be great. Love to hear if you guys have like guests in mind. A few people sent us some music, so maybe we might even try to like integrate that into like our episodes. Anything else I want to say? Anything you want to say? We got Waifu Expo coming up in March. That's an event that we're doing. Oh my gosh!
Less than 2 months from now. Yep. If you're in Dallas, look it up.
Yes. So Waifu Expo. That's a whole convention that we're doing with the Juliet Michelle, aka Pashotro Mom, who's been on the podcast quite a few times. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for the good questions and the good dialogue with all, and thanks for taking care of the cat.
Oh, you got it, man.
Yeah, and I'm excited for what's to come. So, as always, stay dope, y'all. Peace.